welcome to This Day. It is Friday, September 20th. I'm your host, Bree Cox Kennedy. We are making our way toward a beautiful weekend. We're going to tell you about that in just a minute. But on today's show, we're going to be talking with Leslie Gabola from Adapt to It. She's going to be sharing multiple ways to stay mobile. So some very important information on that. And then later in the show, we have none other than our own Cole Young with Sports Center. But first, we want to keep you informed. Orange County residents are urged to stay informed through the Orange County Fire Authority and enroll in Alert OC for timely updates, while also taking precautions against smoke exposure, especially those in high-risk groups. So stay informed by using the links provided on the screen. And due to the smoke advisory, please limit the outdoor activities and keep windows closed. Make sure and stay hydrated, especially if you have pre-existing health conditions. Next up, we'll take a look at that weather. Today, Friday, a high of 73, so sunny and mildly nice. Those temperatures are going to be incrementally increasing toward the weekend. 79 for tomorrow, Sunday and Monday 84, and then Tuesday back down to 79. So all in all, a very pleasant weekend. You might want to start thinking about maybe fall planting. I think the weather will be conducive to being outside. Next up is our sunrise sunset segment. We have a beautiful photo from Dana Point provided by Cole Young. The sunrise this morning was at 6:38 a.m. and the sunset will be at 6:49 p.m. Our days are getting shorter, folks. Next up, we've got some meetings to tell you about, and then after the break, adapt to it. Stay tuned.
Achieve a level of comfort you've never known before. The Daydreamer will take you through smooth movements and guide you effortlessly into your favorite positions. Adjust the power pillow for ideal support for your head and neck. This and our positioning technology allows for infinite relaxation. Lay back in zero gravity while watching TV and put your body and mind at ease. Lift your spirits and find your favorite daydream. Contact your local Golden retailer today.
And welcome back to the show. It's the end of summer. We have an end of summer sale going on now at Adapt to It.
Yes.
Here to tell us more and all about that, we welcome Leslie Gabola.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's always great to be here.
Yes, can you believe it is
the end of summer?
Wow, that went blazing fast.
It was blazing hot.
It still is. We got some higher temperatures coming this weekend. So.
Exactly.
But tell us a little bit about your end of summer sale. I believe it's going through October?
Through
the
October,
end of October?
So we decided just to have a great big sale, kind of blow out all of our things that we have, some of our more common items in this summer. People are out and about more in the summer sometimes, so traveling, so scooters and our rollators and our wheelchairs, kind of things to get you up and about. And then we also have our lift chairs.
Okay.
So we have varying amounts, so $10 off, 50 or more, 20 off, 100 or more, or $250 off any scooter or lift chair.
So incrementally increases by the amount that you spend, of course.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about the lift chair. How is it assisting additional mobility when you're in the home?
So there are a couple things with the lift chairs. They become an integral part of your home when you get them. A lot of people think that getting out of the chair is good exercise. But what happens
because of the pushing?
Because of the pushing and the leg and everything. But what happens a lot of times is people already have like a chair that rocks in their home, like a lazy boy or something like that.
Of course.
And what happens with these is that you have to have momentum. And getting up from a flat chair, especially if you've got weak legs, and that's usually the issue with people having trouble getting up, you have to do kind of a 1, 2,
Get some
3,
momentum.
and
Launch.
launch yourself out of the chair. But the problem with that is you've got momentum going forward, and that can cause a fall.
Of course.
And so you just kind of keep going forward, and maybe you don't have the strength to reposition your legs in time to catch your fall, and that's how falls happen.
Okay.
So technically what I say is getting out of a chair is not for exercise. It's a functional activity, being able to get out of a chair, because we do it all day. So what you want to do is save your exercise for exercise. And
Okay.
exercise can be walking around the house 5 times a day. It can be taking a walk down the block. It can be standing, in place and marching. Whatever you're able to do.
Sure.
That's exercise.
Right.
And exercise is cumulative too. So if you can only do 5 minutes here, 5 minutes here, and 5 minutes here, that's 15 minutes of exercise. And so if you build on that through the day, that's going to make you stronger.
Right.
But what our lift chairs do is they help you up. So they tilt you up gradually, so your body has a chance to accommodate to the lift
Okay.
and to the position change. And then it gets you to a point where you don't have to struggle. You don't have to launch. You don't have to worry about landing. You don't have to worry about all
Right.
those things with the
Right.
regular chairs. And the other thing they do, these chairs have gotten pretty, I'll call them intelligent, because you can get one that's very simple, that has one motor that tilts back so the head and the feet tilt the same time, or go back and up the same time.
Okay.
Or you can get one that has as many as 5 motors. And the 5-motor one, it tilts the
That's
head.
a Mac Daddy.
It is. They're huge. Separate. The head is separate from the feet. Then they have motors in the neck, so you can adjust the neck. A lumbar pillow, you can adjust that.
Okay.
And then a lot of them tilt, so the whole entire chair, because recline is different than tilt. With recline, only your back is going back.
Sure.
With tilt, your whole body moves as one.
Okay.
So it helps digestion, respiration, eye contact, joint pain, everything. It's really beneficial.
Okay.
And the higher end chairs even have a therapeutic heat to them.
Do they?
And it's not only heat that just feels warm, but it's an infrared heat that kind of goes down inside in your bones.
I was just going to
to
ask if
help.
it was infrared.
To help heal that.
Yeah.
And everybody knows the benefit of infrared,
course.
right?
If not, we'll have another discussion
Right.
based on that, because there's so many important factors.
Exactly. I'll bring a chair and you can sit down, you
I
can
would
feel
love
it.
I would love it.
So we have that, and they come in multitude of colors and styles. So you can really match it to your size.
Can you
first of
custom
all.
make them? Can they
You
be
can.
custom made?
You can.
Okay.
They take a little longer.
Okay.
But you can actually bring in your own fabric. And I've done that a
Wonderful.
couple times.
Wonderful.
They tell you, you send the fabric back to them. They tell you if you can, if they can do that chair
Sure.
in that fabric.
Sure.
And then they tell you how much. You send it back, and then they send you back your custom chair.
That's great. So is the manufacturer local, or are they?
No, they're in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
It's
okay.
our
They'll
main
just
one
get
is in
shipped.
Pennsylvania. It's a 150-year-old company. Great story, family business. The great-great-grandson still owns it.
Oh my goodness.
I know him, and it's just a great company.
So Leslie, how can you tell when it's time for somebody to start using a cane?
Well, it's really easy because they start doing this, walking, holding on to things, or dragging their hand along the wall or on furniture. They're looking for stability.
Stability.
And it's just they might feel a little bit woozy or a little bit weak. And what a cane does, it just kind of picks up the slack for somebody that's either had maybe a hip replacement
Okay.
or a knee, or is just feeling generally weak. Maybe they've got some back pain, or there's something going on with their foot.
Okay.
So we have a variety of canes because often it's the first thing that somebody uses. And we have carbon, which is really strong and lightweight. We have wood, and we have aluminum. The aluminum ones are the most common, but the wood ones are really pretty. So if you want something decorative, if you want something really pretty, we have the wood ones. Well, the aluminum ones can be pretty too.
Yeah.
But it just depends. I usually ask what people's favorite color is when they first come in for a cane. Because if you're going to use something, it might as well be your favorite color, right? It might as well make you feel good to use.
Exactly.
And that was my philosophy when I got started, kind of tangentially, when I got started with Adapt to It, was I wanted to make things look nice because nobody likes those metal gray walkers and canes from the hospital.
They feel so sterile, right?
They do.
Yeah,
They do. They
they're
don't
not
have any
personable.
Right. No personality.
Right.
So I kind of changed that, and canes are one of my things that I have a lot of.
Yeah.
And where I can, I do put color in the store. So it's really important. So a cane, a lot of times, is used incorrectly. A lot of people think that a cane is supposed to be used on the bad side, so the weak side, because it kind of takes the place of your leg.
Sure.
But in reality, it's supposed to be used on the strong side, because what happens when we walk, our opposite arm comes forward the same time as our opposite leg.
Okay.
So you're using your strong side to support your weak side. And then the height is really important. So everything in our store, well, canes mostly, can be cut for their size.
Cut and fit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then everybody's hand is different, so we have different grips. So we have a palm grip and a regular like hook cane, like looks like a question mark. That's a weight-bearing cane, and some different textures because people, feel things differently.
Sure, and different bases also.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. We've got single point, and then the quad base, and then we've got a base you can add to the cane.
Oh, okay.
Of your choice.
Okay. So when is it indicated to change from the cane to a walker?
Well, the dragging your arm along the wall or the furniture becomes holding on. So you're needing more stability, you're needing more balance.
Okay.
It's less about stability, more about balance.
I see.
And so on a walker, it can be a rollator, which is the one with the 4 wheels and a seat and a brakes, or just the regular walker with
that you push.
Right. The 2 wheels in the front and the skis in the back.
I see.
And either one. Sometimes the one with the 4 wheels goes too fast for people, and it can kind of get away from them. So sometimes when you're first starting out, just a basic walker is enough, and then kind of move into the one with the seat.
Sure. Okay. So tell us, what is the difference between a scooter and a power chair?
A scooter is what's on the screen, and it has the tiller, so you hold on to it with both hands, and you steer it like this.
I see.
So, and then you use your thumbs to move it back and forth.
Okay.
So, and it steers and turns, and then to stop, you take your hands off of the levers, and it stops.
And it just stops.
It has electromagnetic brakes.
Okay.
And then the power chair is the one that has a joystick, so you use it with one hand. And
so it's on like the armrest?
On the armrest, yeah. It extends out of the armrest. And we adjust it to make sure it's comfortable. And then they either could be right-handed or left-handed, so whatever preference you have. And then we do, in some cases, replace the little knob that you can turn with different grips. So we can do a flat one for somebody that doesn't have the ability to bend. We can do a ball, a bigger one for somebody that doesn't have the dexterity to hold on to something smaller. And there are several other ones that we can do as well. So we can adapt to it. We're good at that.
Very appropriate name. Very appropriate name. So tell us what types of specials. We touched on it a little bit, but let's go in a little more depth in case somebody is looking for any type of additional stability or mobility.
Yes. And we, these are what we put out in the world, and we honor that. But, people always ask us for discounts. Laguna Woods Village, we give free delivery. And we usually give people of Laguna Woods Village a kind of a blanket 10% off anyway, just because we appreciate being here and we appreciate their business.
Of course.
So,
and then did I see on your flyer that clients can come in and they can test drive some of these items?
Absolutely. We are a test drive center from Nova, which is one of our dealers. And we became the first one about 3 months ago in the country of our test drive center. And what that means is you can come in, have a free test drive of walkers, rollators, mobility equipment, whatever you like. And then just to try them out, see what you like, see what fits. A lot of times people will come in pre-buy, if that makes sense. So they'll come in, they'll look around, they'll test it. They'll kind of put it in their brain that they want it.
Right.
And go home, think about it, and then come back and get it.
Absolutely.
Because it's a big step. Everybody wants to be upright without equipment, so getting something is a big step.
And it could be a case where they come in for one thing, but maybe you see that actually something else would be more beneficial for them.
Exactly, and that happens all the time.
Does it?
I'm not shy about telling somebody that doesn't work for you.
Sure.
You should do this or try this, or we do a lot of trial and error, which is really important.
Well, I'm sure clients appreciate that very much because it might have not been something that they thought about.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So folks, Leslie, thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you coming. Folks, head on over to Adapt to It. Meet Leslie at the corner of El Toro and Paseo de Valencia to find everything that you might need for your mobility. You're watching This Day on Village Television.
Hello and welcome to this Friday's episode of Sports Corner. I'm Cole Young and there's a lot to talk about, so I'll get right to it. Starting with week 2 of the NFL, there were some major surprises this week and, unfortunately, a boatload of injuries. One of the biggest surprise victories came on Monday night this week. The Atlanta Falcons traveled to Philadelphia in hopes of bouncing back to earn their first win of the season over the Eagles. The Eagles were riding high after starting their campaign 1-0 after taking down the Packers in Brazil on a Friday night in week 1. This game with the Falcons was back and forth all game long, and the Eagles jumped out to a late lead after yet another tush-push rushing touchdown for Jalen Hurts in the fourth quarter. Down 3, the Falcons still had a little under 7 minutes to score. A huge fourth down stop for the Eagles defense turned the ball back over to Philly with around 5 minutes left. The game was essentially over, and all Philadelphia had to do was run out the clock, and they would advance to 2-0. The Eagles drove the ball with ease, eating up 4 minutes off the clock and driving into the red zone. However, on 3rd and 3, Jalen Hurts threw a short ball to Saquon Barkley in the flat, who had some room to run for a first down, if not more. Unfortunately, Barkley bobbled and dropped the pass. Not only did this bring up 4th down, but it stopped the clock in a crucial moment. Eagles kicker Jake Elliott drove home a field goal, bringing the Eagles ahead 21-15. But there was still a minute and a half left in the game, and the Falcons had all 3 timeouts. New Falcons quarterback Kirk Cousins led a flawless last-minute drive for Atlanta and ended it by connecting with receiver Drake London for a 7-yard touchdown with just 34 seconds left to give the Falcons a 22-21 victory over the Eagles. Cousins was 5 of 6 for 70 yards on the final drive. It was an incredible comeback win and a great way to finish off week 2. Before that, though, probably the biggest shock this season so far has been the New Orleans Saints. The Saints opened their season with a 47-10 beatdown over the Carolina Panthers in week 1. But many people, myself included, still doubted the team because the Panthers are, well, the Panthers. The true test came in week 2 when the Saints were facing the heavily favored Dallas Cowboys. Saints running back Alvin Kamara scored 4 touchdowns, including a 57-yarder on a screen pass, and the Saints ended Dallas' 16-game home winning streak in the regular season with a 44-19 victory over the Cowboys on Sunday. Quarterback Derek Carr threw for 243 yards and 2 touchdowns to go along with a 1-yard rush for a score. The Saints scored touchdowns on their first 6 drives just a week after setting a franchise record by starting the season with points on 9 consecutive possessions against the Panthers, meaning Derek Carr has led 15 consecutive scoring drives for the Saints, and their offense has scored 91 points over a 2-game stretch, while their defense has allowed just 19 points. The Saints will be tested again as they take on the Eagles this week, but so far they look like an absolute powerhouse. Another big shock has been quarterback Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings. Darnold has the Vikings off to an electric 2-0 start after he threw for 268 yards and 2 touchdowns against the San Francisco 49ers, including a 97-yard touchdown to receiver Justin Jefferson. That's the longest touchdown of the season so far, and I expect that to stay the record for quite some time. Also, if you didn't know already, Sam Darnold is an Orange County local. I mentioned it earlier, and it seems like we have this conversation every year, but the injury bug is running rampant throughout the league yet again. Instead of going into detail about every single one, I'm going to rattle off some of the biggest names around the league that are on IR or out at least a few games with some major and some minor injuries, but all having a pretty big impact on the league. Just a few injured players are Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, A.J. Brown, Tua Tagovailoa, Jordan Love, Isaiah Pacheco, Joe Mixon, Rashad White, Tajay Spears, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Evan Ingram, Kenneth Walker, T. Higgins, Keenan Allen, and so on and so on. Ooh. Hopefully all of these players will make speedy recoveries and will be back on the field soon. Last week, when I made my NFL picks for the week, I admittedly took the Cowboys over the Saints. I learned my lesson and I won't doubt the Saints anymore. I only was right about 2 of my picks total since the Chargers handled the Panthers and the Commanders kicked 7 field goals to beat the Giants. Obviously, the Cowboys lost and the 49ers were outplayed by the Vikings. So I started the season 2-2. Not too great. Let's see if I can get 3 or even 4 this week. For week 3, I'm going with the Raiders over the last place Panthers, the Seahawks to make it 3 in a row over the Dolphins, Cincinnati to get their first win of the year over the Commanders, and the Bills to dominate the Jaguars on Monday. Speaking of Monday, both the Bengals, Commanders, and Bills Jags game will be played on Monday this week. Week 3 of the college football season can be summed up in one word: points. The season opened up on Thursday night last week with South Alabama setting a new school record against Northwestern State when they scored a whopping 87 points. South Alabama had 4 different rushers and 3 different receivers score a touchdown on top of a pick 6 and a punt return touchdown to earn an 87-10 victory. It didn't stop with that game though. Texas won 56-7 over UTSA, Ole Miss dropped 40, Tennessee beat Kent State 71-0, Miami beat Ball State 62-0, Notre Dame beat Purdue 66-7, Georgia Tech put up 59, and more. I mentioned last week that there wouldn't be that many ranked matchups or even that many close matchups for that matter, and seemed to be correct. Surprisingly, the best matchup was Georgia's incredibly narrow victory over Kentucky. Georgia's Branson Robinson rushed for a 3-yard go-ahead touchdown early in the 4th quarter, and Georgia overcame a lethargic performance to rally past and then hold off Kentucky by a score of just 13-12. Looking ahead to this weekend, we're back with some high-powered matchups. Kicking off the weekend at 5 p.m. tonight, number 22 Nebraska will host number 24 Illinois. Tomorrow, the first ranked matchup will be number 12 Utah, heading to Stillwater to face the number 14 Oklahoma State Cowboys at 1 p.m. on Fox. Quick fun fact, because of transfer rules and medical red shirts and different eligibility rules, the ages of the 2 quarterbacks squaring off in this game are 24 and 25 for a combined age of 49. For reference, in the NFL this weekend, the Colts and Bears are playing, and the combined age of those 2 quarterbacks is 44. Anyway, that leads us into the biggest games of the weekend. First, our local number 11 ranked USC Trojans will head to the Big House in Ann Arbor, Michigan to play the number 18 ranked Michigan Wolverines. This stadium holds just about 108,000 fans, which makes it one of the most hostile environments for road teams in all of sports. We'll see how the Trojans can manage when this game begins at 12:30 p.m. on CBS. And lastly, 2 teams that don't play each other very often but don't like each other will be playing, and for the first time ever, in the same conference. Number 6 Tennessee will travel to Norman to battle it out with the number 15 Oklahoma Sooners. This game will kick off at 4:30 p.m. on ABC, and you won't want to miss it. To end the show, personally, I always get excited when an expansion team is announced, no matter the sport. The Seattle Kraken, Vegas Golden Knights, Houston Texans, Utah's new hockey team, and more, just to name a few. In the WNBA, the last team to join the league was the Atlanta Dream, who previously became a team in 2008. Now, within the next 2 years, 3 new teams will be a part of the WNBA, bringing the total to 15. So far, the Golden State Valkyries will join in 2025 and play their games in San Francisco. Then, in 2026, a currently unnamed Toronto team will form. It was announced earlier this week that the 15th team will be joining the league, this time based out of Portland, Oregon. Portland previously entered the WNBA as the expansion Fire in 2000 before folding after the 2002 season when the league moved from central ownership to individual ownership of teams. Now, women's professional basketball returns to the city of Portland in 2026. Oregon's home to some incredible collegiate talent, as well as the Portland Trailblazers of the NBA and the Timbers, the MLS, but another professional team heading to this portion of the Pacific Northwest is a great thing. Who knows? Maybe the NFL, MLB, or NHL will head up that way next. Anyway, as always, thank you for joining me on this week's episode of Sports Corner. Enjoy another week of football, plus so much more across the sports world. Come right back next week for more news, updates, and highlights. I'm Cole Young. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.
And welcome back to the show. We've got some movies to tell you about. Well, for tonight's movie, Friday, we have Local Hero, brought to you by Hogue. It'll be shown at 2 p.m. with subtitles and 6 p.m. without subtitles. This movie sounds really interesting. An American oil company has plans for a new refinery and sends someone to Scotland to buy up an entire village. But, as in all movies, and life, things don't go as expected. A beautiful coastline, a rich oil man wants to develop it. A poor beach bum wants to live on it. An entire town wants to profit by it, and a real live mermaid wants to save it. But only one of them will get their way. So be sure and watch that so you can find out who gets their way. Next up, let's take a quick look at our weekend weather again. It's going to be absolutely beautiful as we're transitioning from summer into fall. We still got some high temperatures, but all in all, a very pleasant next 5 days. Highs in the 80s for Sunday and Monday, folks. So if you're out there gardening or playing, make sure you take your sunscreen and stay hydrated. Tomorrow on This Day, we'll be talking with Assemblywoman Diane Dixon and Caring Senior Service. So be sure and stay tuned for that. And from all of us here at This Day, we hope you make yours a beautiful one.
During the pandemic, thousands turned to AgeWell for help. Since March of last year, AgeWell has provided Orange County seniors with more than 40,000 grab-and-go lunches, 500,000 home-delivered meals, as well as transportation and case management services. We were there for you then, and we're here for you now. Stay strong. Stay well. Age well. Learn more about our services or how to get involved today at myagewell.org.